If you had the audacity to click on this video, then you probably have somewhat of an interest in AFL, and today I will be doing my AFL 2023 ladder predictions, so it's time to transform into my ultimate AFL self. And here I am ready to get on with the predictions. In 18th spot, I've got Hawthorn. In my opinion, they've just lost too many of their leadership players and their young group going into this year, probably looking towards the future years. Hawthorn aren't a team that you'd probably have as wooden spooners in any other year, but just in this year, I think they're just the rebuilding stage. In 17th, I've got North Melbourne. It was a pretty bad watch for them last season. Alistair Clarkson coming in, I think, enhances their chances. They picked up a lot of draftees as well, which I think will also give them a few more wins. So I couldn't put them any higher than the top four at least, and I've got them in for 17th. In 16th, I've got the GWS Giants. Now, when you look at their list, you think, well, they should be pretty good, shouldn't they? But they're never really that good. I mean, I'm sorry to any Giants fans out there, but they're just never really a team that you go, wow, how good are the Giants at the moment? They're sort of always either just outside the top 8 or they're sort of below that. So apart from the year when they made the grand final in 2019, that was pretty good, but I can't see them doing much this year. In 15th place, I've got the Gold Coast. A lot of people are putting them a bit higher, but I've got them down at 15th. They've lost young guns like Rankin. Miller's had a few injury issues throughout the off-season, but they do have Mabior Chol and a very good list otherwise, so Gold Coast are 15th. In 14th, I've got the West Coast Eagles. I think they'll jump up a bit from last year. It was a pretty bad year for them. They've further enhanced their squad over the off-season, coming into this season, so although the Eagles weren't great last year, I still don't think they'll be that good, but I think they'll finish higher than last year. In 13th, I've got the Adelaide Crows. I think their list is now strong enough to be not really contenders for the top 8, but sort of pushing near that some sort of position. Isaac Rankin into the team is a big plus. He'll provide some, excitement amongst the group. So I think Adelaide might do pretty well this season, and they could even finish higher. In 12th place, I've got St Kilda. I think everyone puts them around sort of that outside that top 8 spot. I don't reckon they'll make top 8 looking at the top 8 list that I've got over there. But St Kilda, yeah, they're all right. They're not the best in the comp. They're not the worst in the comp. They're just a mid-table team. In 11th spot, not biased, I've got the Bombers. Now, just think back. This nearly almost same identical Bombers team made the finals in 2021. It was just last season with Ben Rutten that we sort of started to fall, and the players said that they weren't fit enough. But I'm not taking that for an excuse. I've been hearing excuses for 15 years as an Essendon supporter. So, everyone expects them to finish bottom 4 or just outside of that. But I know in my heart, I've watched them play, they have the ability to make the top 8. Last year, rounds 14 to 20, we had about 5 from 6. So we can get on runs, and if we get on some sort of run this season, we'll go a long way. And if Brad Scott can get them in the right mentality, I reckon they'll be probably not making top 8, but definitely nearly there. In 10th spot, I've got the Western Bulldogs. They're a really good list, a really, really good list. It's just when I look at the top 8 teams and the 9th team, I just think, are the Dogs really going to get past them this season? They've got superstars. They got the Bont, they got McRae, Alex Keith down back, Sam Darcy shining through up forward. You got Josh Bruce, Rory Lobb, all those names. The Bulldogs didn't have a great year. In 9th, I've got Port Adelaide again, another very consistent team. I reckon this season's going to be one of the most competitive seasons we've seen for a very long time, and I think Port Adelaide will be the top Adelaide team out of the 2 this year, and they could potentially make finals. In 8th spot, which is the first spot in the finals, I've gone Sydney. Now, a few people may be surprised I put them down in 8th, but history shows that a team that's got smashed in the grand final has really been underdone the next season. Now, I'm not saying this will happen to Sydney. I'm just saying that's what history says, and that's not the only reason I've put them in 8th. As I said, very competitive this year, and I had to put someone in 8th, so I ended up going with Sydney. Sorry, all the Sydney fans out there, but yeah, 8th place is where you guys are. In 7th place, I've got Carlton. They're sort of coming good now. I reckon they will make finals this year after being dumped out last year by Jamie Elliott. I reckon, yeah, they're just getting older. They're getting better. Curnow and Mackay are kicking goals. And Mark Robinson had Charlie Curnow as his number one player in the comp, which surprised me a bit. But he is a very good player. They will kick lots of goals, and Carlton will win lots of games. In 6th, I've got Fremantle. They're finally starting to show what they did when I started getting into footy. Good football. I got into footy around, 2012, 2013, and they made the grand final in 2013 when they lost to Hawthorn. Now they're sort of getting to a level where their list is getting strong enough to be able to contend for not just a premiership, but for finals, which I've got them in the top 8. Nat Fyfe also coming back and potentially playing a full season will help them too. And I've got Freo in for 6th. In 5th spot, I've got Melbourne, another very good side. Look at their list. Petrarca, Oliver, Viney. Up forward, they got Bailey Fritsch. I was about to say Wiedemann, but he just left. And down back, they got the all-impressive Stephen May. They're just good all around. They got good key defenders, midfielders, and key forwards. And they'll be pushing for top 4. In 4th spot, I've got Collingwood. A lot of people are saying they'll drop off. I don't really see how they'll drop off. I'm just thinking that maybe people are thinking they'll drop off because they only won games by 6 or less last year. But I reckon they will do better this year because, more experience. The new guys have come in and they've played with each other more. They're getting to know each other more. They're getting to know their footy more. Like, their tactics will be good because Craig McRae's pretty good. And speaking of Craig McRae, how good's he been? Ever since he's walked in the door, Collingwood have been good. So I've got him in top 4. I don't see them making 5th to 8th or 9th to 18th. I see them making top 4. That's why I've put them. In 3rd spot, I've got Richmond. Now, I might have put them a little too high, but I just remember watching their games last year, and they still look like some sort of premiership side. Like, when you've got, especially Essendon, we haven't beaten them since 2014 or 13, I think. They got, Grimes, Vlosten, Gibkiss is coming through, Tarrant is still there down back. It's hard to get past their defence. And in the forward line, they got superstars like Shea Bolton and, I think that's about it. Rewalt, another one. In the midfield, they went out of the midfield. Prestia, he's injured at the moment, I think. But Dusty, all them, I reckon they'll have a great year, Richmond, and I've got them in for 3rd. It came down to 2, and I had a long time splitting them, but in 2nd, I've gone for the Brisbane Lions. They could easily finish on top of the ladder. We saw it in the practice game, and I know it was just a practice game and no one really cares, but they showed glimpses that they're peaking already. And if they can hold that form line for the rest of the season, they could potentially make top, and they'll definitely make top 4 in my opinion. 100% make top 4, and they've got a strong and exciting enough list to be making the top of the table. But in 1st spot, unsurprisingly, I've gone with Geelong. I just can't really see anyone knocking them off this year. They won the grand final last year. They've enhanced their squad by hiring young guns like Jake Bowes, Tanner Bruhn, Ollie Henry up forward. They've still got Cameron and Hawkins kicking goals. So I don't see Geelong sort of getting away from the top of the ladder. I think Brisbane are the only team that can topple over them this season, but Geelong should be right up there again. Those are all my predictions for the 2023 AFL season. Obviously, my channel is for horse racing, and I'll get changed back into that. But hey, AFL is my second sport, and I thought I'd put a prediction video out. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, and bye for now.